thank the chairman and the ranking member for holding this hearing. Thank you, Attorney General, for your testimony, for appearing before us, and for your service to our country. I have great respect for my colleague from Virginia on the other side of the aisle. I'm a bit confused as to why they have zeroed in or focused in on this particular letter in such a myopic way, but your testimony, and I wrote down words here, that the moment he, meaning the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney, Mr. Weiss, asked for the authority, I gave it to him. Seems pretty straightforward. And as you said, the letters that Mr. Weiss has written to this committee are publicly available, and we encourage anybody who's watching these hearings to certainly review those. As you said, clearly they're consistent with each other in terms of reading those letters collectively. I think it's important, Mr. Attorney General, to perhaps talk a bit about your record and your background in light of the various attacks, unfortunately, by my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. My understanding is that you served as a special assistant to the Attorney General of the United States early on in your career. Is that right?
As my first job out of being a law clerk, yes.
Your first job out of law school. You later
after law clerking.
After law clerking, of course. You later were in private practice.
Yes.
And you left private practice to become a line attorney at the Department of Justice.
That's right, to be an assistant U.S. attorney.
An assistant U.S. attorney, a federal prosecutor, taking on organized crime cases, drug trafficking cases, violent crimes.
Yes, I don't know about the organized crime, organized drug trafficking, yes.
Following that service, you served in the Department of Justice as the principal associate
Attorney General. Yeah. Deputy Attorney General, yes.
Deputy Attorney General. This is in the mid-90s.
That's right.
And in that capacity, you supervised a range of high-profile cases. Is that right?
Yes, they were high-profile cases.
The Unabomber case?
The what?
The Unabomber case.
The Unabomber case, yes.
The Atlanta Olympic bombing.
The Olympic bombing, yes.
The Oklahoma City bombing case.
Yes, that's right.
You received praise with respect to that latter investigation from the then Republican governor of the state of Oklahoma. Is that right?
Yes, who was a very good partner in the investigation with respect to Oklahoma.
You then were nominated and appointed to the federal bench, the U.S. District Court of Appeals here in Washington, D.C., correct?
For the U.S. Court of Appeals, yes.
Right. You were confirmed by a bipartisan majority. Over 20 Republican senators voted for your confirmation.
I'll take your word for it. I think that's correct.
You served on the bench for a significant period of time, ultimately becoming the chief judge.
Yes, that's right.
You left that position to return to the Department of Justice, where you had started your career.
Yes.
And you were confirmed into this position in which you now hold on a bipartisan basis in the Senate.
Yes.
I think it's unfortunate, Mr. Attorney General, that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have conflated questions about various cases that the department has brought with impugning your integrity. And I can assure you that the vast majority of the American people don't share their opinion, and that my constituents, the folks back in Colorado, are grateful for your lifetime of service that you have given to this country. And I recognize that this is, I suspect, a frustrating exercise in terms of this particular hearing, because I suspect that you'd like to be talking about the prevalence of fentanyl in our communities and the work that the Department of Justice is doing to interdict it, the gun violence epidemic in our country, and the work that the FBI and other law enforcement agencies are doing to stop it. And my hope is that the next oversight hearing, perhaps those can be the focus, the bulk of the hearing. I'd be remiss if I didn't say one note about a rule that the Department of Justice recently promulgated. As you may recall, in 2021, March of 2021, I sent a letter to the Department of Justice requesting that the Department of Justice issue a rule regulating stabilizing braces. One of these braces was used, as you might recall, at a mass shooting in my community in Boulder, Colorado, where 10 Coloradans tragically lost their lives, including one police officer. And the Department of Justice issued a final rule earlier this year on this precise topic. Unfortunately, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have made it their mission to overturn this rule. I wonder if you might be able to just elaborate a bit on how the rule was drafted and deliberated within the department.
Yes, well, that horrific event in Boulder was one of several examples of the use of attachment of a semi-automatic pistol to a stabilizing brace intended to permit its firing from the shoulder. That violates the rule, the congressional statute against short-barreled rifles being possessed without registration, anything under 16 inches. The reason for Congress's statute, which I think probably goes back to the Al Capone era, was the power of such a weapon and the ability to aim such a weapon when it's shouldered. All that was done in this rule was to make clear that if you convert a pistol into a rifle designed to be fired from the shoulder, you're subject to the registration requirement.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. I yield back.
Attorney